Hey guys, so I just wanted to make a really kind of quick video about what's happened since my last video where I posted that my son Joseph was going to be going in for an evaluation for an autism diagnosis, and I hadn't really talked about what happened since, so I wanted to update you guys. So I don't know why, I'm kind of nervous talking about this, even though I've talked about it in person to lots of people. Um, So we went to the evaluation, and pretty much at the end of it, they confirmed that they believe that Joseph is on the autism spectrum. So before going into it, I thought maybe I was going to cry or be scared, or I'm not sure. I thought all these different emotions would come to me, but really all that came to me was relief, which was kind of a surprise. I just shook my head and said, yeah, and I wasn't really in shock at all, and neither was my husband. I think we both had kind of prepared for it. Probably a couple of months prior, we had talked about it and really kind of came to terms that he probably was on the autism spectrum. And we had our cries then, and we kind of processed it. All the fears and all the anxiety and all the what does this mean? That's not to say we won't have more of that. I've had days of that since his diagnosis, but in general, when we received his diagnosis, it made it a little bit easier to just be relieved, because what that meant for us is that it was an open door to help. That the diagnosis was not a label as much as it was, a key that got us the door to help. Really, we're now able to get him a habilitation worker, more speech, some occupational therapy, and who knows what else. Really, there's still a lot of stuff I'm learning. So let me just show you real quick what we got. This is what they gave us. This is the first 100 days, and I put the day on there that he was diagnosed. And it just kind of breaks it down page by page, like things to expect from emotionally and kind of financially and all that good stuff. And it talks about the different therapies. It has this helpful little guide where you can write down who you talk to when you talk to them to follow up on getting his services started. And then on top of that, it's not all we got. We got a lot of paperwork. Let's see. We got this little handy dandy notebook, navigating the system. Sorry if this is in reverse because I'm showing it on my camera this way. I'm just using my iPhone. And then we got this whole notebook. Look at all this stuff from Social Security, healthcare stuff, all sorts of goodies. And then this is the actual summary that they gave us with his diagnosis on it. So you can see, it's a bunch of stuff, So I put it in a cute notebook just because that makes me feel better about it. Makes it a little easier to deal with. But anyways, so right now, because he is 2 months away from turning 3, so we're kind of an in-between spot. If he had been diagnosed closer to the beginning of 2, there's certain services he could get approved for, because most of the time services don't start till they're 3, but there's early services. But by the time we apply for those and they come through, he's going to be 3 anyways. So instead, we're applying for all of the things that happen when he's 3. So we've applied for sorry, I'm losing the words. I can't remember. There's a term for it. Basically, we applied for this thing that is what determines how many, I think, hours of service he gets and what kind of services he gets and what the state will cover. So that's a blessing, because here in Arizona at least, and with him coming through the foster care system and all that stuff, there's so much that probably we'd be in huge debt, honestly, if those things weren't provided for. And I've heard of other people, and I don't know, maybe it's current now in all the states, but I've watched lots of documentaries of people talking about going in $100,000 debt to pay for services for their kids because their state didn't cover it. So we will not have to face that, which is seriously a blessing. And beyond blessing, really. So we're really hopeful that he'll get a lot of services. The specialist that diagnosed him made sure that he had, it was clear that he needed a lot of work because of his speech it's more than a speech delay. He just is not speaking. I mean, he has attempts at words. There's, I think, ball and mama and dada and wow and ouch are the words he uses, and he doesn't always use them on a regular basis. Like he never will look at me like mama, when he needs help. He doesn't do that. If we ask him to say mama or dada, he'll do it. Ball is probably the only word that he actually uses on his own. Like he'll find a ball and say ball, ball. I don't know why he has this cute elongated A sound. So, which also leads me to that they tried to do a quick hearing test and they weren't able to. So I'm gonna have to take him into a specialist so that they can do one where it's not gonna be just in his ear because he won't put up with that. So that'll be the next step too, because that will make huge improvements if he has any level of hearing issues. I know for a fact he can hear because he responds to us in different ways and with music and things like that. But to what level, I'm not sure. In one sense, it would almost be a blessing if he had some sort of hearing and then they could just put a hearing aid in and all of a sudden he starts talking, but at the same time, I don't want him to have any hearing issues. So it's a weird thing to process. Sorry, I'm kind of not sure where to go from here, but I just wanted to update you all. I know that for different people, they're going to have different reactions to their child being diagnosed. Some will be in denial, some will be angry, some will be scared. I've heard a lot of people talk about being relieved though, because now you're going to get some help and now you know that you're not making things up in your head, because it's hard. Sometimes I would tell people that I knew something was off, but a lot of people, well-meaning, loving family and friends would say, oh, but he's just a boy, or oh, I knew this one boy who didn't talk till he was 4 and he's totally normal. And as much as I wanted to hold on to those, I knew deep down, especially having experience with kids with autism, that it was more than he just didn't want to talk. Because he wants to talk. He just doesn't. There's a disconnect. I can see it in his eyes. I can see him. He'll look at me when I'm trying to get him to say something and he looks confused. Or sometimes he'll mouth it, but he can't get the words out, or they come out and they're not at all the word I'm saying. So, which those are good signs at the same time, because it means that he's gonna hopefully talk. I believe, me and my husband talked about it, we believe that he's gonna talk. We believe one day we can see him on stage talking about his whole life story, from his foster care to adoption to autism, and that he's going to be an advocate for all those areas for people. I really truly believe that. And we believe in a God that uses everything for good if you give it over to him. So we're believing and holding on to that. I definitely have had a few days though where I've just been sad, and just I can't even fully explain like why. It's not so much sad that he has autism, but sad that he is going to struggle and that he has to work so much harder to do some things that other kids don't even think twice about, or other parents don't think twice about. And just like today, he's been having a really rough day. Thankfully, he finally passed out for a nap, and Noah's somehow still sleeping. That's a miracle. But today, he was just crying all day. And I couldn't understand why. I kept asking him, are you thirsty? Are you hungry? Do you want milk? Do you want to eat? And, usually he can sign something back and tell me eat or thirsty or more, and I can figure out what's kind of going on. But nothing. He just kept burying his head. He kind of would bang it on the floor, the tile floor. And then on the couch, he would kind of rub his head into the couch and cry. So days like that just break my heart for him, because there's something going on and I can't really help him, and all I can do is hold him. And thankfully today he let me hold him. Lots of days he doesn't. He wants the comfort without being touched. But today he let me hold him and squeeze him, and he was liking that a lot. So anyways, I always say quick video and then it turns into 10, 12 minutes. So I apologize if you've fast forwarding this, but I just hope that it helps other people, or at least people who are interested in our journey can kind of follow along as we navigate it, and it can do some good. And yeah, I'm going to be making another video about what else is coming up in our family, because there's a lot coming up. With Joseph turning 3 in July, a lot of his services are going to kick in on top of special needs preschool that he got approved for. So that he's going to be like a full-time student with all his therapies and with school and things like that. And we decided that we're going to move forward with IVF pretty soon, which is super exciting. But, oh, there goes my chair. Promise that was a chair. Okay, so we're moving forward with IVF, and we're super excited, and also, like, feel like, are we crazy? Because the timing of it all is pretty much right when JoJo's services will kick in. And, you know, anybody who's been through IVF or done any research on it, I mean, it is intense. I've been doing lots of research and following lots of vlogs of women who've been through it and couples who've been through it, and it's crazy. And I'm going to make a whole video about that and what that looks like, and hopefully kind of make a whole story with that, because I want you guys to be along on that journey with us as well. And somehow we're going to navigate having 2 toddlers, one with special needs, and getting services, as well as getting IVF treatment and possibly getting pregnant, which is crazy to even think that it's a possibility. So anyways, I'll talk more about that in another video. Thanks guys, I love y'all. Bye.